Pole position.
This is where the mental game comes into play. Jaco Nel is taking their time to prepare for their qualifying run. Jaco Nel is driving through Barbecue Bend.
Spectators near here can smell the smoke wafting from nearby grills.
You can feel the tension building. James Leach is out on track and getting ready to push for their qualifying time. James Leach is looking relatively composed going through the S's. It looks like Duald Lambert crosses the start-finish line at the end of their outlap. Duald Lambert appears focused and prepared driving through Crowthorne Corner. Jason Loosemore is on their outlap. Jason Loosemore is driving through Crowthorne Corner.
There's a spot near here where the teenagers sneak off to make out.
The adrenaline is pumping. Gerhard Niemand is on their outlap, warming up the tires and getting ready to put in a fast lap time.
They will want to get a good gap established for their first flying lap.
As Gerhard Niemand completes their outlap, they will be hoping they have given themselves enough space on track to fully attack for their first flying lap. Gerhard Niemand is looking relatively composed going through Crowthorne Corner.
I have always loved this section of the track.
The pressure is on in this qualifying session, but Leon van Leenden is rising to the occasion. It seems like Leon van Leenden is struggling, currently 0.12 off their best pace. Leon van Leenden is not able to keep their pace consistent. So far they are 8.65 seconds down. This is what it's all about. Renzo Scott is putting everything they've got into this qualifying session. Renzo Scott has completed their first flying lap in 1:05. That's the outlap done for Johan Niemand. They'll now look to focus on their first flying lap. Johan Niemand will be looking to use this first hot lap to set a solid time in the standings.
It's certainly exciting to watch. But let's not forget, the goal is to secure a good starting position for the race.
Johan Niemand appears focused and prepared driving through Jigskay Sweep. There are just over 10 minutes left in this qualification session. It seems like Renier Leach is struggling, currently 3.78 off their best pace.
Rainier Leach needs to refocus and start putting in the lap times we know they're capable of.
James Leach SNR is on their first flying lap.
Yes, they are.
James Leach SNR has just completed that lap in 1:13.884. Their best lap so far is 1:09.611, putting them in P19. Jaco Nel is trying to find that extra performance.
Good question, Lucy. It's all or nothing now. They need to stay focused, hit their marks, and extract every ounce of performance from that car to move up the grid.
Jaco Lambert is looking for ways to improve their consistency. Jaco Lambert is not able to keep their pace consistent. So far they are 0.46 seconds down.
Jaco Lambert is likely taking a deep breath to try and refocus their efforts.
Dylan Bizaji is trying to find that extra performance.
They'll need to put together a perfect lap, hitting every apex and pushing the car to the limit without going over it.
Dylan Bizaji is driving through the S's.
Spectators near here can smell the smoke wafting from nearby grills.
It's all about strategy in these early moments. Michael Rust is taking their time to prepare for their qualifying run and get everything just right. It's all about precision and speed in qualifying, and Stuart Mack is nailing both.
Absolutely, Stuart Mack is showing the world what they're made of.
Sean Johnson is looking relatively composed going through Crowthorne Corner.
There's a spot near here where the teenagers sneak off to make out.
Sean Johnson appears focused and prepared driving through Clubhouse Bend.
I have always loved this section of the track.
Renzo Scott is looking for ways to improve their consistency.
Every driver needs something different, Lucy. Some drivers excel when they push harder, while other drivers benefit more from relaxing and being in a flow state.
It seems like Renzo Scott is struggling, currently 0.37 off their best pace.
Renzo Scott needs to refocus and start putting in the lap times we know they're capable of.
You can feel the tension building. Jaco Nell is out on track and getting ready to push for their qualifying time.
This is the moment they've been preparing for. Let's see if they can execute.
This is where the mental game comes into play. James Leach is taking their time to prepare for their qualifying run. James Leach will be happy having put themselves into second in this qualifying session. It looks like Jaco Lambert is getting ready to make their move. They're taking their time to warm up those tires and get everything just right.
These are the moments that really matter. Let's see if Jaco Lambert can deliver.
Dual Lambert is driving through minus 0.12.
There's not much better than sitting what a little bit of adrenaline and a lot of horsepower can do. Dewald Lambert is just showing us all what they're made of.
There are just over 5 minutes left in this qualification session. Ernest Heather will be happy having put themselves into 5th in this qualifying session. Ernest Heather is looking relatively composed going through Crowthorne Corner.
Spectators near here can smell the smoke wafting from nearby grills.
Dylan Bizaji is on their out lap. Dylan Bizaji appears focused and prepared driving through Jixkay Sweep. Jason Loosemore is trying to find that extra performance. James Leach SNR is looking for ways to improve their consistency.
Good question, Lucy. It's all or nothing now. They need to stay focused, hit their marks, and extract every ounce of performance from that car to move up the grid.
James Leach SNR is driving through Sunset Bend.
I have always loved this section of the track.
The adrenaline is pumping. Henko van den Berg is on their out lap, warming up the tires and getting ready to put in a fast lap time. Jaco de Beer is trying to find that extra performance. Jaco de Beer has some work to do as that 104.799 is only good enough for 20th. Jaco de Beer is looking relatively composed going through Crowthorne Corner. Robert Stoltz is looking for ways to improve their consistency.
Well, Lucy, they'll need to find those extra tenths of a second by pushing just a little bit harder on the braking and carrying more speed through the corners.
Robert Stoltz appears focused and prepared driving through Leeucop Bend. Renzo Scott is trying to find that extra performance. Troy Star is up -1.42.
Looks like Troy Star is really cooking with.
Troy Star has some work to do as that 103.548 is only good enough for 19th. You can feel the tension building. Ivan Lerm is out on track and getting ready to push for their qualifying time.
Patience is key in these early moments, Lucy. But I have a feeling Ivan Lerm is going to make it count.
Jaco Lambert is looking for ways to improve their consistency.
Every driver needs something different, Lucy. Some drivers excel when they push harder, while other drivers benefit more from relaxing and being in a flow state.
Jaco Lambert is not able to keep their pace consistent. So far they are 0.65 seconds down. Stuart Mack is trying to find that extra performance. Stuart Mack is driving through Crowthorne Corner. This is where the mental game comes into play. Sean Johnson is taking their time to prepare for their qualifying run.
It's a delicate balance between taking it easy and pushing hard. Let's see how Sean Johnson handles it.
It's all about strategy in these early moments. James Leach is taking their time to prepare for their qualifying run and get every. James Leach will be happy having put themselves into second in this qualifying session. Currently in third, Ernest Heather has displayed promising speed during the qualifying session. The real test lies in whether they can convert this performance into a higher grid position.
You're absolutely right, Lucy. Ernest Heather's current position of third reflects their strong qualifying performance. Now, they'll need to strategize and capitalize on this starting position.
Jaco Lambert will be happy having put themselves into fifth in this qualifying session.
Every fraction of a second counts. I'm sure they can find a little extra in there.
A strong showing from Jaco Lambert as they currently sit in fifth. With the session drawing to a close, they'll need to dig deep and find that extra burst of speed to improve. It seems like Jaco Lambert is struggling, currently 0.32 off their best pace.
Jaco Lambert is likely taking a deep breath to try and refocus their efforts.
Lambert has some work to do as that 102.376 is only good enough for sixth. Duald Lambert is looking relatively composed going through Crowthorne Corner.
There's not much better than sitting near here and watching the cars speed by.
Impressive work from Dylan Visagi, who has claimed 7th on the grid. Now, the focus is on maintaining their composure and pushing for an even better starting position. Dylan Visage has some work to do as that 102.218 is only good enough for 7th.
There's still more time to be had, but I don't know if they're going to find it before the session is over.
James Leach is holding down the fort in second place. Coming in at third, we have Ernest Heather. And in the fourth position, it's none other than Henko van den Berg. Jaco Lambert is lining up fifth. As the engines roar to life, Duald Lambert prepares to take off from the sixth position on the starting grid.
That Polo Super Cup 2026 looks like it has some potential.
From the middle of the pack, we have Dylan Bizagi in seventh place on the starting grid. The lights are off. It's pedal to the metal time.
These first moments can set the tone for the rest of the race. It's all about keeping a clear head and making smart decisions.
There's some intense battling throughout the field as everyone is feeling out the drivers around them.
I'm looking forward to this one, Lucy, and we'll see a return to form for Jaco Lambert in this outing in South Africa.
The tensions are high, and no one will want to make a crucial mistake on the first lap.
Let's hope everyone is able to stay focused for the challenge ahead.
Every lap is an opportunity for James Leach to learn just a little bit more to shave a few tenths or hundredths off their times.
It all comes down to this, Lucy, where the rubber meets the road. There's no more time for talk, no more practice. The teams have done all they can, now it comes down to James Leach to bring it home.
This is getting exciting. Ernest Heather is looking for any gap that might open up the position. It's a solid performance from Henko van den Berg at the moment. Breaking update. Oh dear, Ivan Lerm has had an incident. The gap between Jaco Lambert and Gerhard Niemann may be wide, but that doesn't mean Jaco Lambert is safe. They have to keep their concentration and avoid any lapses in performance. It's like watching two predators circling each other, waiting for the perfect moment to pounce.
They say rubbing is racing, but if Duald Lambert gets too close, they might end up trading carbon fiber souvenirs instead of positions.
The crowd is on the edge of their seats as Renier Leach in 20th chases after Renzo Scott. The delta is just over a second. Hold that thought. Hold the phone. I don't think that's the fastest way around ALDOSCRIBANTE race circuit. The pursuit is on. Duald Lambert is closing the gap on Gerhard Niemann, determined to claim P8. A solid performance from Jaco Nel, who is holding down first.
Absolutely, and they need to keep driving with determination to stay in that position.
It's a close race between Henko van den Berg and James Leach in second. Hold that thought. Hold the phone. I don't think that's the fastest way around ALDOSCRIBANTE race circuit. Coming into Jikske Sweep, the fight for second is heating up. Neither driver wants to be the first to blink. This is where the skill and precision of the drivers really comes into play. Gerhard Niemann is chasing Duald Lambert in P8.
This is where every inch counts. Gerhard Niemann is pushing hard to close the gap on Duald Lambert. Absolutely, precision and control are key here. Knowing when to push and when to...
Hold that thought. Hold the phone. Looks like that's a mistake from Caden Scott. This could be costly. It's a battle of wills out there, with Sean Johnson trying to outsmart and outmaneuver Tyler Scott. The gap is slowly closing, but time is running out. Situations like these often lead to a dramatic finish.
It's a nail-biting race for sure, with both drivers showing incredible skill and determination. But Tyler Scott is not going to give up the position easily. This is going to be a battle to the very end, with Sean Johnson in P13 doing everything they can to catch up.
Jaco Lambert could be on a charge here, John. They have just put in a quicker lap than Jason Loosemore.
As long as Jaco Lambert can maintain that consistency and pace, it will be interesting to see.
Duo Lambert is placed 7th at the moment. They are hoping to keep their distance ahead of Jason Loosemore, who is 0.4 seconds behind. And Jason Loosemore has just lost the place to Gerhard Niemann.
Absolutely. They need to rethink their approach and come up with something new, or they risk losing even more ground. On the other hand, Gerhard Niemann has been making some impressive moves and looks like a serious contender.
It's a classic case of chasing down the car ahead for Jaco de Beer, who is currently in P17. But Stuart Mack is not making it easy, and the gap remains over a second. This will require some expert driving from Jaco de Beer.
That's right, Jaco de Beer in 17th knows they have to push to the limit if they want to catch up. But Stuart Mack is no slouch, and they're going to be pushing just as hard. It's a battle of skill and will out there.
This is what racing is all about. Two fierce competitors pushing each other to the limit. Ernest Heather wants to get into James Leach slipstream. It seems like Ernest Heather has got the bit between their teeth, improving on James Leach's lap time there. Things are going according to plan for Jaco Nel, who is currently first. This one's going to be tough. Henko van den Berg is getting their elbows out, and there may not be enough time left for James Leach to make a move.
James Leach is certainly pushing all they can, but the gap might just be too much. Unless Henko van den Berg makes a mistake, it looks like they'll hold on to second.
Ernest Heather has just put in a faster lap than James Leach, so that's going to give them something to worry about.
The question is now, can James Leach respond to that in kind? They are going to have to pick up the pace.
I think we just got time for a quick shout out to our human creators, Dave, Andy, John and Nigel, who have put so much effort into making this possible.
Yes, it's been a real thrill ride, and I for one look forward to future advancements in AI technology.
Apparently we are going to be announcing crashes and incidents soon. Let's hope they get the logic right. Looks like we might have a great battle starting here between Jason Loosemore in 9th and James Leach SNR. It's been tense with a gap of only 0.3 seconds.
It's not over yet. James Leach SNR is right on Jason Loosemore's tail, and if they can find just a little bit of extra speed, they might be able to make a move.
It looks like Renzo Scott is pushing hard to catch up to Robert Stoltz. That's not a small gap, but Renzo Scott has what it takes to challenge for the position. It's neck and neck, the closest battle we've seen in a while. It looks like, hold that thought. Hold the phone. Looks like that's a mistake from Caden Scott. This could be costly. The race is heating up as Duald Lambert at 7th closes in on Jaco Lambert. The gap is just over a second, and I'm sure they are going to do everything possible to try and close the distance. They're not giving up without a fight. It's game on now. Duald Lambert has closed the gap to Jaco Lambert. It's now down to 0.2 seconds. It's a battle out there. Each driver trying to outsmart and outmaneuver the other.
This is the moment where legends are made. These drivers will go down in history as the ones who fought tooth and nail for the top spot.
Fantastic move from Stuart Mack, who has just gained a position. Oh dear, Stuart Mack. Breaking news, folks. Now I may be wrong here, but I'm not sure that's the racing line. It looks like Dylan Visagi is in control. They're ahead of Jaco Lambert by over a second, and it doesn't look like they're going to be challenged anytime soon.
Surely they've got enough in the tank to pull away. Gonna be interesting to watch this battle unfold.
Disappointing for Dylan Visagi, they now find themselves in 6th. Pushing too hard can lead to mistakes, and we're seeing that now. That car is really unsettled as they push for every last bit of speed.
That driver is really pushing the limits. They're riding the curbs and pushing the car to its limits.
Jaco de Beer is giving it their all as they chase down Leon van Leeuwen in P13. A setback for Jaco de Beer, who has just been passed. It's looking good for Johan Niemand, sitting in 21st. The race is really heating up. Duald Lambert is hunting down Dylan Visagi with everything they've got.
The gap is 0.3 seconds now. Duald Lambert is going to have to work a bit harder to close that gap with Dylan Visagi.
A great pass for Duald Lambert as they pick off other drivers and move up the field. Meanwhile, Dylan Visagi has lost ground. A strong showing from Jaco Nel, who is currently first.
Yes, but they have to keep their focus and drive with intensity. There's still a long way to go in this race.
Hold on a second. I don't think that's the fastest way around ALDOSCRIBANTE race circuit. Henko van den Berg is placed second at the moment. A solid performance from James Leach, who is holding down third. Breaking news, folks. Looks like that's a mistake from Johan Niemand. This could be costly. It doesn't seem like things are going to plan for Ernest Heather as they have a big gap ahead of them to close at this point in time. It's all about consistency for Jaco Lambert, who is currently 5th. Gerhard Niemand is looking for an opportunity to get round Dylan Visagi.
I might have said this before, but dog, bone, you know the rest.
What a move. Gerhard Niemand has moved up to 7th. Things are going according to plan for Caden Scott, who is currently 17th. This is where the skill and experience of the drivers really come into play. Robert Stoltz will need to stay focused and keep pushing, even when the gap seems insurmountable. It's not over until the checkered flag drops. This is a thrilling battle as Dylan Visagi edges closer to Gerhard Niemann in their fight for P7. The gap between Dylan Visagi and Gerhard Niemann is getting smaller.
This is where the pressure really starts to build. Both drivers will need to stay calm and focused if they want to come out on top.
Superb driving from Dylan Visagi, who with that overtake has gained a position in the race. A strong showing from Troy Starr, who is currently 11th.
Definitely Lucy, but they can't afford to get complacent. They have to keep pushing hard to stay in the game.
It's looking good for Renzo Scott, sitting in 18th. A solid performance from Tyler Scott, who is holding down 16th. Caden Scott has a mountain to climb at the moment to close that gap with Tyler Scott. I expect their only hope at this point is that Tyler Scott makes it in. Every move counts now as Duald Lambert works to reel in Gerhard Niemann and overtake for P7. It's looking good for Duald Lambert, who has gained places and put some distance between themselves and Gerhard Niemann. So, John, considering the high speeds and split-second decision-making involved in racing, what's the impact of even a minor lapse in concentration?
A minor lapse in concentration can have significant consequences, Lucy. It could lead to an off-track excursion, a loss of position, or even a collision. That's why it's crucial for drivers to stay focused and alert throughout the race.
This is where the true champions shine, and Jaco Nell is certainly showing their class in the final sector. What a win! This is a historic moment for Jaco Nell, who put on a masterclass in driving today. What a display of skill and precision.
You can see the sheer determination on Jaco Nell's face as they take the win. That's the mark of a true champion, folks.
Henko van den Berg takes second place with a fantastic race.
Impressive performance. They pushed themselves to the limit for a fantastic second-place finish.
What a race from James Leach. They kept their cool and secured a well-earned third place on the podium.
Impressive driving to secure that spot.
Followed by Ernest Heather, Jaco Lambert, Dylan Visagi, and Duald Lambert in 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th. Finishing 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th is Gerhard Niemann, Michael Rust, Sean Johnson, and Troy Starr. Jason Loosemore, James Leach SNR, Jaco de Beer, and Robert Stoltz brings home 12th, 13th, 14th, and 15th. Taking 16th, 17th, 18th, and 19th is Tyler Scott, Caden Scott, Renzo Scott, and Rennie A. Leach. Leon van Leenden, Johan Niemand, and Ivan Lerm claim 20th, 21st, and 22nd. There's a little bit of wind in the air today here at ALDOSCRIBANTE race circuit, as we're getting ready to get things underway. On the second grid slot we have Michael Rust.
Starting from here, Michael Rust may already have expectations of a podium finish.
Gerhard Niemand is third. And in fourth place, we have Duald Lambert. Holding strong in fifth place is Dylan Visagi.
Dylan Visagi is looking on for a strong result.
Sitting in sixth is Jaco Lambert.
Dylan Visagi isn't going to make it easy to get through the pack.
Lining up in seventh is Ernest Heather. In the middle of the pack, we have James Leach starting from the 8th position on the grid. From the middle of the pack, we have Henko van den Berg in 9th place on the starting grid. As the engines roar to life, Jaco Nel prepares to take off from the 10th position on the starting grid. Starting from 11th on the grid is a decent position for Troy Starr, all things considered. Starting from 12th on the grid is a tough ask for Jason Loosemore, but they're up for the challenge. James Leach SNR may not be starting from pole, but they're still in with a shot.
James Leach SNR won't be too disappointed with 13th.
Jaco de Beer will need to be on top of their game, starting from 14th on the grid.
The South African driver has got something to prove.
The green flag is waving and we're off to the races. Let's see who can get out in front and establish an early lead.
This is where the true test of a driver's skill comes into play. It's all about finding the right line and carrying as much speed as possible through the turn.
The drivers will need to be precise and calculated if they want to make it through this section unscathed.
And with so many cars jostling for position, it's a real test of nerve as well. One wrong move and you could be out of the race before it even really gets started.
That's right. The pressure is really on these drivers to perform. As the tires come up to temp, their available grip is changing, and the drivers that manage this transition best are likely to make progress through the field.
The first lap can always be a bit of a melee as everyone tries to establish themselves. It's easy for inexperienced racers to blow it in T1.
The drivers are jockeying for position. Jaco Nel will be looking to get off to a good start and consolidate their position.
I'd love to be on track burning some rubber here, Lucy.
There's not much to report on from Duald Lambert at the moment. They're just keeping their head down and putting in consistent laps. The drivers are really pushing their limits out there on the track.
It's like they're trying to outrun the laws of physics. But we all know that's impossible. Or is it? I mean, we're a couple of computerized robots commenting on a race. Anything can happen.
Bad jokes notwithstanding, you have a point there. And speaking of pushing limits, these cars are breaking records left and right.
They're so fast, it's like they're breaking the sound barrier, or at least the speed limit.
I hope the police aren't watching. The race is really heating up. Michael Rust is hunting down Duald Lambert with everything they've got. It doesn't seem like things are going to plan for James Leach as they have a big gap ahead of them to close at this point in time.
Anything can happen yet, and it usually does. I've certainly seen drivers come back from worse.
Michael Rust wants to get into Duald Lambert's slipstream.
It looks like they have the speed to make a move. I just hope they have the patience to do it cleanly.
Ernest Heather has the pedal to the metal chasing Sean Johnson. Ernest Heather has just managed to set their fastest lap of the race so far with a lap time of 1 minute. Heartbreak for Ernest Heather as they slip down the field. seems like Ernest Heather is getting in range of Jason Loosemore. Oh, this is getting intense. Tyler Scott is just behind Troy Starr.
This is what separates the good from the great. The ability to stay focused and perform under pressure.
Things are heating up as Michael Rust tries to close the gap to James Leach.
Sometimes you have to take risks to win, but pushing the car too hard can be a costly mistake. Michael Rust needs to be careful not to overdo it.
Oh, the pressure is intense. These three drivers are displaying incredible skill and determination. It's like a high-speed chess match out there.
Absolutely, Lucy. The intensity of this battle is unmatched.
The green flag is waving and we're off to the races. Let's see who can get out in front and establish an early lead.
This is where the true test of a driver's skill comes into play. It's all about finding the right line and carrying as much speed as possible through the turn.
The drivers will need to be precise and calculated if they want to make it through this section unscathed.
And with so many cars jostling for position, it's a real test of nerve as well. One wrong move and you could be out of the race before it even really gets started.
That's right. The pressure is really on these drivers to perform. It's a battle of wills out there, with Johan Niemann trying to outsmart and outmaneuver Caden Scott. The gap is slowly closing, but time is running out. Situations like these hold that thought. Hold the phone. Oh dear, Stuart Mack has had an incident. The race is heating up as Johan Niemann in 13th closes in on Caden Scott. The gap is just over a second, and I'm sure they are going to do everything possible to try and close the distance. They're not giving up without a fight. Tyler Scott is giving it their all as they chase down Troy Starr in P7. It seems like Tyler Scott has got the bit between their teeth, improving on Troy Starr's lap time there.
As long as Tyler Scott can maintain that consistency and pace, it will be interesting to see.
A great pass for Tyler Scott as they pick off other drivers and move up the field. Meanwhile, Troy Starr has lost ground. It's a classic case of chasing down the car ahead for Ernest Heather, who is currently in P9. But Jason Loosemore is not making it easy, and the gap remains over a second. This will require some expert driving from Ernest Heather. The battle for 17 is heating up as Sean Johnson tries to catch Renzo Scott in P17. It's a game of cat and mouse out there, with Johan Niemann trying to find the perfect opportunity to make a move on Caden Scott. The gap is over a second, but every fraction counts. Michael Rust is pushing really hard, but as we know, pushing too hard can lead to other mistakes, like locking up the brakes or missing a shift. These drivers are walking a razor's edge between pushing the limits and making costly errors.
Absolutely, it's all about finding that sweet spot where you're pushing the car to its limits without crossing the line into reckless driving.
Hold that thought. Hold the phone. Oh dear, Stuart Mack has had an incident. The delta between Michael Rust in 5th and Jaco Nell remains over a second, but Michael Rust is not letting up. They're pushing hard and looking for any opportunity to close that gap. There's 7 minutes left in this session to make that happen.
This is where experience comes into play. Jaco Nell has been in this situation before and knows how to defend for position, but Michael Rust is hungry for success and won't give up easily.
Tyler Scott wants to find a way round Ernest Heather.
Rubbing is racing, but let's just hope they don't rub it too hard.
And Tyler Scott has just won the place from Ernest Heather.
Absolutely. Tyler Scott is showing great pace and determination, but they can't get too confident. There is still plenty of challenges ahead.
It looks like Tyler Scott is in control. They're ahead of Ernest Heather by over a second, and it doesn't look like they're going to be challenged anytime soon. Every move counts now as Gerhard Niemann works to reel in Ernest Heather and overtake for P8. Now I may be wrong here, but I'm not sure that's the racing line. Jaco Nel seems to be putting the pressure on Henko van den Berg. What a move! Jaco Nel has moved up to third.
You can't argue with results like that. Jaco Nel is really making their mark on this race.
Hold that thought. Hold the phone. Oh dear, Stuart Mack has had an incident. Jaco Nel wants to close that gap with Henko van den Berg.
To achieve anything in this game, you must be prepared to dabble at the boundary of disaster.
Hold that thought. Hold the phone. Oh dear, Stuart Mack has had an incident. Things don't seem to be going Renzo Scott's way in this race, as that's a big gap they'll have to close to even be in with a shout for gaining a place here.
Every race adds to a driver's experience, both good and bad. It just highlights that Renzo Scott is going to have to get more serious with practice if they don't want to be outclassed on the circuit.
Things are heating up as Jaco Nel closes in on Henko van den Berg. The gap between them is down to practically nothing.
If Jaco Nel isn't careful, they might end up turning this high-speed chase into a synchronized spinning routine, and trust me, that's not a crowd pleaser.
It may seem like Ernest Heather is far behind, but Johan Niemann can't afford to let their guard down. One mistake could give Ernest Heather an opening to catch up.
You're spot on, and Ernest Heather knows that they can't rely on Johan Niemann making an error. They have to keep driving with skill and determination, and be ready to seize any opportunity that comes their way.
Excellent work from Jaco Nel, who has managed to increase their lead over Henko van den Berg. They seem to have found their rhythm and they are grooving to it.
It's clear that Jaco Nel is dominating right now. They're making it very difficult for Henko van den Berg to catch up.
Duald Lambert is placed first at the moment. They are hoping to keep their distance ahead of James Leach, who is 0.6 seconds behind.
Surely they've got enough in the tank to pull away. Gonna be interesting to watch this battle unfold.
The pursuit is on. Jaco Nel is closing the gap on James Leach, determined to claim P2. Jaco Nel has just put in a faster lap than James Leach, so that's going to give them something to worry about.
We will have to see if James Leach has got any answers for that.
This is where the skill and precision of the drivers really comes into play. Johan Niemann is chasing Ernest Heather in P10. A great moment for Johan Niemann, who has just gained a place and moved up the standings.
Amazing stuff. Focus and precision, what it's all about.
No room for error here. Henko van den Berg is breathing down the neck of James Leach, waiting for the perfect chance to make their move. It looks like Henko van den Berg is all over James Leach. I think they are gonna press them through the kink and try and press for a mistake.
For sure, Lucy, that's exactly what I would be doing here, as James Leach is gonna be aware of them riding their bumper.
Henko van den Berg could be on a charge here, John. They have just put in a quicker lap than James Leach.
The question is now, can James Leach respond to that in time? They are going to have to pick up the pace.
The crowd is on the edge of their seats as Jason Loosemore in 7th chases after Gerhard Niemann. The delta is just over a second, and you can feel the tension in the air. Jason Loosemore needs to find a way to close the gap.
That's right, Jason Loosemore in 7th knows they have to push to the limit if they want to catch up. But Gerhard Niemann is no slouch, and they're going to be pushing just as hard. It's a battle of skill and will out there.
The action is non-stop as Henko van den Berg shadows James Leach through every twist and turn, determined to claim third.
It's going to be a close one. Henko van den Berg will have to push hard to create an opportunity.
A brilliant maneuver from Henko van den Berg, who has just moved up the field.
That's what we like to see. Henko van den Berg is really showing their class today.
This is where the skill and experience of the drivers really come into play. Dylan Bisagie will need to stay focused and keep pushing, even when the gap seems insurmountable. It's not over until the checkered flag drops. Good news for Dylan Bisagie, the gap to Ernest Heather has decreased. It's now down to 0.5 seconds. It's all about consistency for Ivan Lerm, who is currently 19th. The race is heating up as Jaco Lambert in 16th closes in on Sean Johnson. The gap is just over a second, and I'm sure they are going to do everything possible to try and close the distance. They're not giving up without a fight. It's a battle of wills out there, with Robert Stoltz trying to outsmart and outmaneuver James Leach SNR. The gap is slowly closing, but time is running out. Situations like these often lead to a dramatic finish.
It's moments like these that make motorsports so exciting. We're witnessing a battle of skill and strategy between two great drivers, with Robert Stoltz in 21st determined to catch up. But we know James Leach SNR isn't just going to hand it to them on a plate. Robert Stoltz is going to have to take it. It should be an interesting battle to watch as long as they can close that gap.
It's a classic case of chasing down the car ahead for Caden Scott, who is currently in P14. But Jaco de Beer is not making it easy, and the gap remains over a second. This will require some expert driving from Caden Scott. It's looking good for Jaco de Beer, sitting in 13th.
Absolutely, and they need to keep driving with determination to stay in that position.
A strong showing from Leon van Leenden, who is currently 17th.
Yes, but they have to keep their focus and drive with intensity. There's still a long way to go in this race.
As we come into the final moments of this epic race, Duold Lambert is in the lead. Can they stay calm and bring home the bacon? The leader has done it. What an incredible performance from Duold Lambert, who was simply untouchable today. This is a race that will go down in the history books. Impressive second-place finish for Jaco Nel.
Impressive performance. They pushed themselves to the limit for a fantastic second-place finish.
That was an outstanding performance from Henko van den Berg. They fought hard and took the final spot on the podium.
Impressive driving to secure that spot.
James Leach, Michael Rust, Gerhard Niemann, and Jason Loosemore in 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th. In 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th, it's Tyler Scott, Johan Niemann, Troy Starr, and Ernest Heather. With Dylan Bisagie, Jaco de Beer, Caden Scott, and Sean Johnson in 12th, 13th, 14th, and 15th. Jaco Lambert, Leon van Leenden, Renier Leach, and James Leach SNR end in 16th, 17th, 18th, and 19th. 20th, 21st, and 22nd sees Ivan Lerm, Robert Stoltz, and Renzo Scott.